State student-athletes Teddy Allen, Clayton Henry, Jabari Rice, and Johnny McCants. Again, if you have questions for our student-athletes, please raise your hand, and we'll bring a microphone around. We'll start here with the gentleman in the black. And then
Nate Ryan, KVIA, ABC7, El Paso, Las Cruces. Teddy, how we feeling this morning after yesterday?
We just prepared for tomorrow.
Have you getting a lot of DMs, a lot of notes from people? I mean, after that historic performance yesterday.
Yeah, a lot. But it's usually like that after most games. So, just trying to get ready.
All busy.
John in the front here.
John Worrell with the Associated Press. Teddy, I know your coach, Chris Jans, meant this in a nice way, but you know, when you hear somebody saying he's a bad shot taker and he's a bad shot maker, and sometimes you just have to go through you know, the spells and the ups and downs with you. How do you react to that, knowing that you can heat up that well, and how do you react when your coach says something to that effect?
To me, it just sounds like he believes in me. Honestly, he pretty much said that he's willing to, you know, let me do my thing, and if it means that we can get it done, and that's what, like I said yesterday, that's what you want in a coach.
I respect that answer, and just I guess to maybe one of your teammates. I mean, how the belief that you guys have in Teddy, in knowing that he can heat up at any moment, no matter what kind of shot he's taking. Just to any of you.
So we see it every day. It's like nothing new to us. We watching just like you on the court. To be honest, we amazed just like you are every day.
It really is. It really is.
I guess follow up on that, Jabari. Was there a shot that he hit last night where even you were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that went in"?
Yeah, for sure. First half, we was just talking about this. Literally, first half, when he was missing at first, he was missing, and then they were so hype, and I guess they thought like they were like doing that, but with Teddy, you know, once he started missing, eventually makes come, and they come in a row. So once he hits the first turnaround, I was like, oh yeah, it's coming. Then every bucket after that was just drop. And I had it was to a point where we wasn't like we weren't going to rebound because it was going through the net. We were ready to get back, play defense.
Johnny, just in terms of putting like that win behind you guys and like kind of compartmentalizing and moving on to Arkansas, how do you feel like you guys are doing with that today after such a big win?
You know, I feel like we took today head on. Everybody's all focused in on the new game plan we got to put on our team, and the game plan we got for Arkansas. I feel like everybody's locked in for it.
This one's really more for Clayton, Jabari, and Johnny, since you guys have been here longer than Teddy. In terms of the expectations for this program, I mean, you guys did something that hasn't been done in a really long time. It's been a really long time since this program won a tournament game. Now that you're moving forward, do you maybe feel like you're playing with a little bit of house money, knowing that you've already done something that was kind of historic to the program?
Nah, everybody wants to win one game. Once you get one game, what's the point of losing the next? So I think that we're just more locked in than ever, because if we make to the Sweet 16, there's more history. And you make it to the Final Four, there's more history, Elite Eight, different things like that. So I just think we're locked in. We're not really worried about anything. We already made the history, and so what's more is just us.
And I guess just real quick, just to follow up on that, what is the pressure that you guys feel going into the or having the opportunity to play to go to the Sweet 16? I know Teddy's been there before, but you know, the three of you, what is that pressure? What is that feeling?
I feel like we don't got no pressure. I mean, you know, we love basketball. We love what we do. We're just gonna fight every time, every possession, every minute on and off the court. You know, we're just gonna stay locked in. I don't feel no pressure. When I look throughout the whole team's eyes or see their body language, I don't feel like anybody has pressure on them.
Maybe for Teddy and Jabari, if you other guys want to chime in, feel free. But I know it's a quick turnaround. Just what are your initial impressions of Arkansas? Did you get to see them play much during the season? And have you watched last night's game? Or just what are your thoughts about Arkansas?
They're a good team, athletic, score the ball well. You know, SEC team. So got a chance to see him a little bit, not too much, but more so now within the last, however many hours. But definitely an athletic team. Definitely play hard.
Jabari, you want to take that too?
I think they're a pretty good offensive team. They play a lot of iso ball. They don't have a lot of sets, so they go through number one. I think it's Anote or something like that. Number one is kind of like their guy, and so that's who I'm gonna be matched up with, and just try to take the challenge personally and just have my team behind me, and just I think that they're a good team. They have fire just like us. They got role players that come off the bench and make plays, and so. And obviously they're athletic, but we just play the athletic team. So I think if we keep it a ground game like we did this last game and really just fight and claw every possession and do it every single time, we got a chance.
I guess, Clayton, are they maybe like UConn and you guys are a little more similar style? Is Arkansas going to try to speed you guys up a little bit more, and just kind of how's those styles going to contrast?
I don't think they're going to speed us up more than UConn. I feel like UConn had I'm not gonna say a better defense, but like a defense to where they speed you up more. Arkansas kind of gives you a little bit more space, and like you could kind of work through the offense and run sets a little bit better. So I don't think it's gonna affect our pace or nothing.
Out front, maybe they pick up 94 feet a lot.
Yeah,
more.
maybe a little bit out front, but I don't think it's gonna affect our pace. And we working on stuff. So. Yeah.
Guys, is there anything fun for you guys about, obviously, the game you've been playing all season long, the people in Cruces, the people around New Mexico State have been watching you play like this all year, but is there anything fun about now seeing the rest of the country start to pay attention to what you guys have been doing and be like, wow, New Mexico State, I never would have thought they would have played ball like that, but sort of proving the rest of the country, I guess, wrong, I guess?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's fun, just because, we've been working hard for however long that NMSU's been going to the tournament and stuff, and they haven't been looking at us like that. And, we work hard day in, day out, and for us to get our name on the map and get more notice, it's better for all of us.
I like it. Shoot. People, if they want to jump behind us, just add more fire to the fuel, you know? Just hop on and just let us do our job, and we appreciate all the fans. It helps us, to be honest, the more people that cheer for us. And we had our crowd, and they were unbelievably loud yesterday. Like, I heard them more than a whole bunch of people, and then more people started to get in with them. So it was just a cool atmosphere. It turned from UConn having a home game to it being a neutral site. Yep. So I think that's what helped us out a lot. It wasn't a home game, and so we were able to level the crowd, and we were able to take their crowd out of it and make it more about playing on the basketball court than everything else. And so it was no distractions that way, and I think that's what helped us get the win.
John, you have a question up front?
Yes, for Teddy again, just having been here at the tournament before, but to do what you did yesterday as a key cog to your team, and giving the roundabout way you got here, I mean, how does that put into perspective the windy route that you took to get here and to do what you did yesterday, with the 37 points?
I mean, as far as like the roundabout, I don't really look at it like that. I just look at it like, I'm a junior. I done been at a couple schools, and this is the one, that I'm at right now. And I'm just trying to make the best of these opportunities, and I'm grateful for them. And yeah, that's basically it.
I'm glad he came here.
Honestly.
Just as a follow-up, does this then maybe feel like home?
Yeah.
After
New Mexico State's home.
Scotty Bordelon with Whole Hog Sports in Arkansas.
The family. Stop saying.
Teddy, is there a player maybe at the pro level or an influence that you have that maybe you pattern your game after you?
I've been waiting on this, fellas.
LeBron.
LeBron. He's the GOAT, man. LeBron.
Or I was going to say, maybe do you just try to uniquely be yourself for teammates? Do y'all see a comp for Teddy?
Hold on.
Repeat that.
Do you guys see a comp for Teddy, or is he just kind of uniquely himself on the floor?
Yeah.
Teddy, he's a unique player.
Got his little style, the shot knowing. I don't see no one doing the shot. the little herky jerky shot. So
Wide body
that's
fade,
his.
all that.
That's his thing. So.
Wide body fade.
Nah, I don't emulate my game after nobody. I just respect, you know, good players, and you see what people do, and you just try to add things.
Go ahead.
Wally Hall, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. After watching film, do you guys wish you were playing someone else?
No.
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 All right. Any other questions? In the back there? Go ahead, bud. It's coming around.
Johnny, I'm sure at this point, growing up in Las Cruces, you could probably be mayor of the city. Do you have any idea what's going on back home? Did you get a sense that people were just thrilled and excited and yelling out the windows or anything like that?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of videos of like restaurants, everybody cheering for the Aggies, everybody just basically going crazy just because, you know, we got to win in the tournament. At home, it was crazy at home. My dad told me all about it. And then being able to see all the videos that people post of like their little families at home and seeing everybody excited for us, it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy.
Okay, any further questions for our student athletes? All right, thanks for your time, gentlemen. Yeah, don't forget your drinks if you brought them down. Great. Here, I think you have to put your drink on the floor.
Sorry, yep.
Not the cup.
I got it.
The cup police, you know.
No worries. I understand.
All right, we're joined now by New Mexico State head coach Chris Jans. Coach, may you open up with a statement about how the day is going, and then we'll take questions.
Yeah, so far so good. How can you not wake up with a little bit bounce in your step? The coffee tasted wonderful this morning, and we're having a good day thus far.
Okay, good. Want to start, John?
Hi, Chris. John Worrell with the Associated Press. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Teddy's now seems to have arrived on the national stage. You've known him for quite some time. What do you make of the roundabout way that it took for him to finally get here and maybe find a home, and what perspective he might have gotten from that journey?
You know, certainly I can't speak for Teddy. I try not to speak for my players, but at the same time, I think in our basketball careers, I think in life, you never know what your path's going to take you. Some people have one of these paths, some people have one of these paths, and both in their careers and their personal lives. And I'm just glad he's with us now. I've known him since high school. I've already told a bunch of folks, I've recruited him 3 times. It took me that many times for him to join the Aggies, and I think we're both very glad that he made that decision. But Teddy gets maligned sometimes, and he's been nothing but really, really good for us. He's immersed himself in our culture, in our community. He's very well liked. He's very popular in our community. Teddy Buckets gets the most requests of anybody we have. And what I love about him is just the relationships he's built with his teammates. It certainly could be a tough situation when you walk in and you have a game like he does, where he plays free and takes a lot of shots, and it could cause some problems, and it hasn't been perfect. There's been some bumps in the road, but I think at this point everybody realizes the player that he is, and it makes the game easier for them. So really happy for like you said, getting some national love, and he's on the stage, and I think this is what he's always dreamed of, and it's happening right now.
Go ahead.
Coach, I just asked the players a really similar question. You guys did something last night that hadn't been done in a really long time with this program, like winning a tournament game. You've seen the videos back home by now. I'm certain that how big of a deal that this was, like, to the Las Cruces community. Now that you've already done that, now that you've gone and made a little bit of history, do you feel like there's maybe like a relief of pressure going into this next game? Do you maybe feel like you're playing with house money a little bit, or is it really just more of that same expectation, or even more pressure now that a trip to the Sweet 16 is on the line?
First of all, I don't know what videos you're talking about. I haven't really spent a lot of time on my phone. Obviously it's a quick turnaround, and we got to get to the next game plan, and trying to scout an opponent that we're not familiar with. I didn't feel any pressure last night. I certainly don't feel any more today. We're trying to enjoy it. As a head coach, this is my 3rd go-around, and I've learned, from the past that maybe, we were a little tight. We just wanted it so bad, and, we were just purely business. And this year, I'm telling them, hey, soak it up, smile, enjoy it, bring your camera, with your phone to the practice and take pictures. I guarantee you my first year, those phones were in the locker room. And I think it's a part of it. You never know how long you're going to last in this tournament, and I just think it would be a darn shame not to soak it up, not to have those memories, and that's what we're talking about with our kids. Certainly we're businesslike when we need to, and they've been great, but in terms of any pressure, we wanted to be a part we want to be the staff that brought that next phase, or got us back to where they were back in the early 90s when they made the Sweet 16 and won a game in the tournament. But at the same time, we've accomplished a lot, and I knew we were going to compete and try our best. But I don't feel like we're playing with house money. I don't feel pressure. We're excited to be here and excited for the opportunity tomorrow night.
All right, we'll go here.
Hey, Chris, Scotty Bordelon with Whole Hog Sports in Arkansas. I'm curious, stylistically, does Teddy remind you of any player that you've coached or been around in your career? Or
No.
Is he just kind of unique?
No, he's pretty unique. He's pretty unique. Skill set, body. I don't think he plays golf, but he should, because his hand-eye coordination is off the chart. I mean, in practice, he'll be over by the water cooler, and I'll blow the whistle, and it'll be time to regroup and get going. He'll just turn and throw up a 28-footer and get the bottom of the net. No one even really, acknowledges it anymore. He's got a unique skill set. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He's like a pitcher that can throw it from different slots. He can do that when he shoots the ball if you really watch him. And the thing that people are surprised most about him is when you get up on him. He's big. He's big and brawny and strong, and he's not a great vertical athlete, but he's determined, and he works his tail off. He's the hardest working kid I've ever had. I've had some really hard, tough-nosed kids, but he's right there with, the best players I've ever coached in terms of passion and work ethic and investing in his game, and he's being rewarded for it now. But in terms of trying to compare anyone I've coached, no one comes to mind. He's just very unique. And I've said this before, the best thing about him is if you really watch him, he's defending. He leads us in rebounds. You know, a lot of guys that are leading scorers that have his kind of game, you know, try not to foul, you know, try to hide on defense. And around here, it's, you know, it's fairly important to us. And when he arrived, we said, you know, that's not going to work if that's your approach. And it hasn't been. He's been a willing defender all year long, and he's rebounding the ball, like I said. He's been a willing passer. He had 3 assists last night and a couple turnovers. With the type of coverage he sees, that's pretty impressive.
We'll go here and then we'll go to Paul in the back.
Yeah, Coach, hey, I'm Bob Holt, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I had a couple Arkansas-related questions for you. One, and I know it's a quick turnaround, but Devonte Davis, number 4 for Arkansas, comes off the bench. He had 14, and he averages about 7, 8 points most of the time. But in last year's NCAA run and this year, he's averaging about 14 or 15. Wondering if you have any thoughts on him. What do you think about a guy that seems to play his best in these kind of games?
Well, that's the kind of guys you want on your roster, you know, when they step up when the lights are the brightest. And was very impressed with him last night when I got to see him in person. Just seems so comfortable on the floor, and he knows his game, and he's very good at getting to his spots on the floor. He just doesn't get rattled. He's got a smooth game. He's got good size, great ball skills, and he just seemed like he has an understanding and a sense of what he's trying to do, and he gets the job done. So I'm surprised that he averages only 7 points a game, but at the same time, you know, he's got a bunch of really good players around him that are good players, and he's one of the younger guys. You know, I think he's a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken, and obviously the sky's the limit for him.
It's actually about 8.8. I didn't mean to give you bad info there.
No worries.
And just your overall impressions of Arkansas. They had a really strong second half. I'm curious if you know Eric Musselman at all, but your overall impressions of Arkansas, if what you know about Eric.
I don't know him all that well. I know him. We've had conversations. I see him on the road. I saw him in passing. We had a nice little conversation in the tunnel there last night. But I don't know him, you know, all that well. I've never been in the same league with him or anything like that. But I remember in the Final Four one year, I went to work out, and we ended up being on the same workout room next to each other. And I remember going back to the room telling my wife, I'm like, all I know is he was nonstop chattering, talking, working at the Final Four the whole time. I'm like, man, he was off the chart. His energy was unbelievable. And I just remember going, and I'm just trying to log through my 30 minutes, and he's going crazy on the deal. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed. You know, there's all these coaches in there, and I'm just trying to get through 30 minutes and move on to my day. And it's like he was training for a marathon. So, but the team, I mean, you know, they got great term experience, obviously. He's got great term experience. He's been there, done that. Nothing's going to rattle him or his team. They've got really good individual talent. He does a really good job of spacing the floor and putting their players in positions where they can be successful. I think their spacing is really good. They got, you know, guys that are good cutters. They got guys that are good shooters. I think Williams is maybe the heart and soul from where I look at it from both ends of the floor. He's like the catcher on a baseball team. He's just running the show defensively. Obviously, there's much to be talked about how he takes charges and how he's anticipating, and he's so good at it. And it just seems like the battery, you know, for them, especially on the defensive end and the offensive end. He just got, you know, a great passer and great mid-range game. He's got great pivot game, and certainly Note, you know, is an All-American player, and you know, he can go off for 30 on any given night, but they got other guys around him, you know, that you can't just focus on one or two guys. So I got a lot of respect for their program, for coach, for their team, and we're going to have our hands full tomorrow night.
Right, Paul.
Hey, Chris, Paul Gotham, Picking Splinters. Coaching junior college basketball isn't for the faint of heart. How have those years at the junior college level paved the way to where you are now, and do you have any favorite stories from those times?
I wouldn't trade it for the world. I cut my teeth at a young age. I got my first head coaching job at 26. You know, at this point at 52, I still don't know what I'm doing, but at 26, I look back going, I mean, what was I doing, you know? But every 5 years I look back and say, you don't know nothing, dude. So I guess that's good from a growth standpoint, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's made me appreciate what I'm doing now, the amenities of Division I basketball, the exposure, the platform. It's so meaningful. But those 6 years at 4 different spots in junior college helped shape me, you know, as a coach. And you do it all at that level. You just do it all. Like now, I got too many guys on my staff, and I swear I walk through the hallway and I'll chirp at someone like, what are they doing all day? I don't even know what they're doing all day. I know they're making my job a lot easier, but it's just a different grind. It's just a different grind, and we weren't riding on the buses. We're driving the buses. I remember playing at Western Nebraska when I was at Howard Junior College, and we got done playing on a Saturday night, and obviously your budgets are razor thin, and we couldn't stay the second night, and so me and the other coaches had to switch driving, and we drove like 23 hours and got back the next day. And as I think back, I'm like, that was dangerous. Like, we coached a game at night and then we're driving back in these vans with all our kids on them, but that's just how it was, back when you were a junior college coach 20 some years ago.
Coach Bud Bailey from Albuquerque Journal. Could you tell me a little bit about the logistics of finding out you got an opponent on Thursday and playing on Saturday? I assume you did some of the work in preparation beforehand, looking at the two possible opponents, but I also assume a few guys didn't sleep much last night.
Yeah, it's pretty typical, of the NCAA tournament. You have some advanced guys, like James Miller, who's one of the best assistant coaches in the country. He's my associate head coach. He's going to be an unbelievable head coach here real soon. Someone's going to be really smart and hire him. But he took UConn, and then Coach Taylor and Coach Anwar split up Arkansas and Vermont. So they do all that work like we're playing them right away. And then obviously they're ready as soon as the game was over last night to try to get me up to speed as quickly as possible. Certainly, I think every staff in America would tell you at this time, it's caffeine fueled and you're not getting a ton of sleep, but I got to have some sleep. I'm not one of these guys that can go all night and just keep working. I just can't function. So, we get 3-4 hours of sleep and get up and shower and get some coffee in you and get back on the hamster wheel. But that's just the way it is during, March Madness. And, it's as good a tired as you're ever going to feel your whole life.
Right.
Coach, for those of us who have covered the team all year, we know that the team doesn't necessarily absolutely have to have a huge or incredible performance from Teddy to win, but it certainly helps. It's certainly nice. Going into a game against Arkansas where you're probably going to be playing the best team that you've seen this season, I'm not sure what your thoughts on that are, but do you feel like against an opponent like that, you're going to kind of have a big night from Teddy to win this game?
I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the future. I have no idea how the game will unfold. That's the beautiful thing about sports. We don't know what they're doing, what they're thinking, how they're game planning. You got to adjust on the fly. Everybody has a plan, then you get punched in the mouth, and the game starts. But it makes us better. Do we have to have Teddy, have a big game? I don't think so. We've won plenty of games where he didn't. I know he's going to try. I know they're going to do their best to stop him. It'll be an interesting how it unfolds and what kind of coverage we see. And certainly we've seen a lot of them. He's seen a lot of them individually, but even this particular team, we've seen different people try different things to slow him down. And, usually that creates other opportunities for other players on our team. And we got plenty of other guys. Again, the guys that follow us know that can make plays and make shots and be the leading scorer. So we'll adjust to whatever they do.
Go ahead, John, and then we'll come over here. Oh, I'm sorry, to your right.
Stay in order, Colin.
Hi, Chris. It's about Teddy again. Not all coaches, some coaches are very rigid, as you know, and might not take to the looseness or the amount of the types of shots and the way he plays. Where do you find that line where knowing you can't rein him in, but where do you find that line where you can rein him in to a certain extent, or do you?
Again, great question. I was raised in basketball as old school as you can. I played Division III basketball for Brad Soderberg, who is with Virginia now, won a national championship with Tony Bennett. He played for Dick Bennett, and he was like 26 years old. So that's all we did. And we would pass the ball 7-8 times, and if we looked at the rim before 7-8 passes, we were getting pulled, not let us shoot it. And we defended, and we blocker mover, and it was old school fundamentals. And I didn't know I was going to be a coach at that time, and it served me well as a young coach. But if those teams, those guys, those coaches that watch us play now are looking at me like, what happened to you, you know? But it's, you gotta adapt. You know, I've had certain teams where, you know, the shots that he takes would never be allowed. But he's a special player. And we've had a lot of discussions one-on-one about shot selection and the impact that it has on the game and our team and his teammates, time and score, rhythm of the game. And we have them in a group too, and sometimes they're tough. And we've had some difficult times that we've had to get through. And there's definitely been times where we had to rein him back in or sit him down, right? The old school ways, the bench is probably the best motivator in the world. And trust me, Teddy Allen, it's like when you take him out of the game, you've committed a crime. He does not like to come out of the game. He wants, and the thing about him is he works so hard in conditioning and taking care of his body. He can play 40 minutes and play at a really high level. That's another thing that's really unique about him is most kids can't. He can't. He really can. But there's a lot of back and forth. But if local guys, you know, that follow us would tell you, you know, we definitely play a little bit different this year than maybe in the past. But I think you got to, as a coach, you got to adapt and change and take advantage of the players that you have in that particular team.
All right, we'll come over here and then we'll come back.
Hey, Coach, J.D. Note, number one for Arkansas. He went scoreless in the first half against Vermont last night. They had 17 in the second. Just wonder what you and your staff's impressions were of him after that game.
He's an All-American. He's the head of the snake. He can score in a variety of ways, you know, all three levels, right? That's what the coaches say. Got great range. He can shoot it off the catch, off the bounce. He can get in the paint, create for himself, create for others. He's strong enough, skilled enough to get to the line, which he does often. He's just a really hard guard. I don't think he's the kind of guy you're going to shut down. Like you said, he had 0 at halftime. I didn't see much of the first half because of the media responsibilities, but he certainly played really well in front of me last night, and obviously we've watched a bunch of tape at this point. But I don't think you just, you know, go into the game going, we're gonna limit him to whatever point number, right? Or 10, 12, whatever it is. That ain't how we're looking at it. You just got to try to make things as hard as you can, you know, make him take as tough a shots as you can. I think most coaches would tell you the same thing. But at the end of the day, he's one of those guys, if he gets in the zone and he feels it, you know, it doesn't really matter what you do. You know, the basket looks real big to him, and he can put up a big number. So we're definitely very, very aware of him and his game.
Okay.
I guess it seemed after the game and then talking to the guys today, it seems like absolutely nobody in the locker room is surprised that you guys are here. Teddy and Johnny both said they don't see themselves as Cinderellas. I guess why does this team, what is it about this team that has that inner core and belief that they, you know, I guess belong on this big stage?
You know, you got some guys that are older and have been around. You know, you're talking about guys that have played in the NCAA tournament, that have played a lot of college basketball. I think Johnny McCants is the most winning Aggie ever. And then you're talking about Teddy Allen, we've talked about him ad nauseum today, and he's got plenty of experience. And I would throw in Jabari Rice and Clayton Henry and Will McNair, all the guys that have been around us for a long time. And they got a lot of confidence. They believe in themselves. They got a swagger about them. I don't think there's a game that they could walk into now or in the future that they would fear. I think they would respect the team that they're about to play, but I don't think they're going to fear anybody that we play. And if we're fortunate enough to win tomorrow and advance, you know, whoever we're playing then, they're going to get after them. It's like let's take the jerseys off and play shirts and skins and let's hoop at the church gym and see who wins. And I think there's some of that attitude that they have. And as a coach, I love it. I mean, I love it. I maybe encourage it at times. You know, you gotta have belief, you gotta have confidence, or you're beat before the ball is jumped.
All right, time for one more question.
Coach, at what point of the season, was it before the season, where you looked in your locker room and you saw your guys have that attitude that they could walk in and beat anybody, and all those things you just talked about?
You know, we felt pretty good about the team we assembled in the fall. We're bigger than we've been in the past. Had plenty of guys that were experienced, plenty of talent, plenty of size, the biggest team I've ever had. But you guys have followed us. You know, we had lots of ups and downs. In the fall, I kept talking about we had a nice record, but I kept saying we're underachieving. Our level of play is not what it should be, and that was frustrating. We just never really clicked. And then we went on that road trip to GCU in Seattle, and we played our best basketball in the season in some huge games because of what was on the line for the regular season championship. And at that point, I said, all right, we got a chance. We got a chance. And that was, mid to late February before I really felt like, okay, that's what I envisioned. And then boom, and then we go and have all the guys out, and we lose a couple games in a row, and that was a pretty big gut punch. But we rebounded, and obviously we played some really good basketball on the WAC. And I knew when we get to this stage, if we got a chance to get to this stage, that they would play their best. I mean, they got that type of attitude, they got that type of approach, and I'm just happy that the world is seeing these kids perform on the biggest platform.
All right, thank you for your time, Coach. Good luck
Thanks
tomorrow.
for being here. Appreciate it.